You're listening to Bitch Said What with Cooper and Sabrina.
In today's episode, we talk about chewing oatmeal, Harriet Tubman on the 20, online classes, Mercury in retrograde, astrocartography, and other random shit.
So stick around to laugh, cry, maybe learn a thing or two, but probably not. Hi, how's it going?
Oh, just an exhausting day in the life. Just, happy to be alive and optimistic about the future. That's all I got.
You know what? That's a very good way to think about things. I would say, it's a Monday when we're recording this, and I've survived my Monday pretty well.
Yeah.
So,
and
that's an achievement.
It's the start of a new month as we're recording this.
And Mercury's in retrograde.
Mercury is in retrograde. We will get to it.
We will get to that. And I have something funny I want to talk about.
Perfect. I've got some good tips to utilizing Mercury in retrograde, so we're not as afraid of it.
So something that came about my week is I've decided, new year, new me. I'm now a health guru.
Oh.
And part of that is I'm trying to build muscle, so I'm trying to eat a lot of protein. So for breakfast, I've been having oatmeal. And during one of my eating bland steel cut oatmeal, I realized you don't really need to chew oatmeal.
Okay.
So you can do a little experiment. If you put a spoonful of oatmeal in your mouth and chew, and no matter how long you chew, the consistency is always the same.
I mean, it makes sense, but I don't know.
I think we basically just chew oatmeal out of habit. It's just mush.
I'm trying to now. I'm thinking if I even chew oatmeal.
I do. Maybe I'm a freak for chewing oatmeal.
I don't know. I'll have to next time I have oatmeal, I'll report back.
And obviously this discovery was so important to me that I opened up my notes app and I made a note of it because I'm I have to talk about this on the podcast.
We have to discuss oatmeal.
I am fuck, what's his name? But the guy that had the apple fall on his head.
Galileo? Newton. Oh my God. Not
no.
Galileo, it was someone else. Oh my God.
Gosh.
I'm not a scientist.
No.
I don't even play one on TV.
She is a social scientist.
I hate you.
I'm like Newton. I'm discovering a new law of physics, and it's the physicality of oatmeal.
The theory of oatmeal.
The theory of oatmeal coming to a bookstore near you.
Mm-hmm. I have oatmeal, so I will try it and I will let you know, but I don't think I chew it. Do you guys chew it? Do people chew oatmeal?
I need to know this.
we need to know. We need the answers.
Yeah. You definitely should do this experiment because eating breakfast is really important.
Can't relate.
I know. Prior to this week, I didn't know what breakfast was.
I knew coffee and my morning medication, but otherwise my mornings and food rarely went together unless it was brunch, and that also includes mimosas.
Yeah. So I've invented this new meal before brunch. It's called breakfast, and you eat it before.
And do I eat it on the same day that I eat brunch, or should I only eat brunch?
I think you're supposed to eat breakfast every day, and it helps make your blood level or blood sugar levels consistent, which is good for not developing pre-diabetes and stuff.
Nah, that's in my family.
Do you say that is in my family, or that
is in my family? Yeah, diabetes.
So it's that's something I should worry about, but I'm not going to.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
I'm fine. It's fine. Well, while you've been on your health kick, I have been rediscovering a love for Harry Potter.
Okay, speaking of fine.
Fine. So that's been interesting. I've found all the audiobooks on YouTube, but the video is this guy welding, and it's so weird. The like revenue, like she I'm not buying it on audiobook. Royalties. What's the word? That is accurate. We know a lot, but we don't. We don't. We think we do, but we don't. Well, and that's the interesting thing about like getting back into Harry Potter is the reminder of all the problematic moments in it. And you're like, ooh, that's a weird thing that we definitely did not notice. And people talk about this all the time. I love Harry Potter. And I hate J.K. Rowling.
Like there's a lot of that these days.
Mm-hmm. I want to like I don't own the first 3 books, and the 4th one is in paperback, but then the 5th, the 6th, and the 7th are in hardcover. So I want to like unify my collection. But I think I have to go with used because I'm not gonna like increase royalties to her like we were talking about earlier. So I'm trying to find them used, but they're not. I say that I haven't gone into a bookstore and looked, so it's like all I'm doing is looking online. But I need to like go to half priced, half priced good book bargain. I don't know. Half price books. I think that's what I don't know. I need to go into a bookstore and look for used copies of the Harry Potter series.
See, I'm a big fan of like local like used bookstores. Like whenever I'm in Colorado, we always hit up a couple bookstores there.
Nice, yeah.
I think there is one in Madison. I can't remember what it's called, but it's right near State Street. It's on one of the offshoots. I don't think it's open right now to the public, but you can like order books online and like pick them up or something.
Yeah, I know that. Well, where I used to live had like 2 right next door. You go to them a lot. And then there's Half Priced, which is like a local chain, I think, because like they have 2 stores. They have one on the east side and one on the west side. I really like them. And like they are a bigger space.
Yeah, as long as it's local.
Yeah, buy local. And also, again, like used just feels like a really good idea.
Oh, yeah.
Because even like a local bookstore, if they're selling new Harry Potter, she gets royalties. And we don't want it.
For sure. Well, I like used one because it's cheaper.
Too.
And 2, it's more green.
Yeah, love it green. As I look at my pile of brand new textbooks, that was $150.
Well, the textbook system is corrupt, and like they're designed to keep us buying new expensive books.
Preach. I hate it. I also, both of them, I didn't have to buy new, so I don't know why I did. Like, I just bought them new. Definitely did not have to.
See, like if it's like a book, it's like I had an economics book and it was like the 11th edition. I'm like, I'm going to see if I can find one of the other editions online.
Perfect.
I did. So I just downloaded like a PDF. Anyways, I don't know if you heard the news, but Harriet Tubman is going to be on the $20 bill. I think this was announced by the Obama administration in 2016, and then Trump did not go for it. But now Biden's in office, and Harriet Tubman's going to have her moment in glory, and Andrew Jackson can go burn in hell.
Andrew Jackson. I have a confession.
Yeah.
I used to be a stan of Andrew Jackson.
Did you know about the Trail of Tears?
I did. And the thing was, like, I had like before I really learned about the Trail of Tears. So it's like, it was kind of talked about and it was like huge displacement of all these people. And I was like, oh, that sucks. But like, you got to do what you got to do. Which is like horrible. And I no longer believe that. But Yeah, I used to be really passionate about that man. So anything we could do to remove him from society and like modern day rhetoric, I support. So please remove Andrew Jackson from the $20 bill and change Mount Rushmore.
Is he on Mount Rushmore?
No, but also we still wait, is he? Teddy
I don't think he
Roosevelt,
is.
Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, but still remove Mount Rushmore because like that's not our land.
Oh, Thomas Jefferson?
Oh, Thomas Jefferson.
Yeah.
That's the fourth one.
Yeah. Teddy, Abraham Lincoln, Thomas Jefferson, and George Washington.
Okay.
Do you remember like when Trump was wanting to be on Mount Rushmore?
Idiot.
Crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, no, Andrew Jackson. The thing I liked about Andrew Jackson is he shook things up. Before him, it was very like not like everyone was on the same side or like pretended to be in politics. Like the president's vice president was the person who ran against them. Their cabinet was filled with specific people, and like it was very structured in a way that didn't allow for growth. And Andrew was like, nah man, I'm gonna change it up and have my friends in here and cowboy it up. And it was a horrible thing and has definitely just increased the divide in our nation now. But when I first learned about that, I was like, that's really cool. Who needs to be competent in politics?
I guess I don't know where I would fall on saying whether or not having like a presidential ticket, so like a president and vice president, versus like people running for president and like the second runner-up becomes vice president, if it leads to divisiveness or not. But I don't know. I'm definitely not the kind of person that thinks we should throw out the baby with the bathwater. But with Andrew Jackson, I just have a really hard time overlooking the Trail of Tears, and then also his like fragrant like not following the Supreme Court. So
for sure,
unconstitutional.
Definitely. Like the more I learned about the Trail of Tears, the more I was like, oh yeah, no, like this was much worse than they tried to like explain it, which I always thought interesting, because in 8th grade US history, I did not think the Trail of Tears was a big deal. Like it was not explained in a way to make it seem like a big deal until I got to APUSH, where like the displacement and the dysphoria really was discussed in a way of like, yeah, no, this was horrible. Like in 8th grade, it was really about like the European settlers were mean and like bad, and that like white people did a lot of horrible things to the natives of this land and the indigenous people. And it was like, oh yeah, okay, that happened. The Trail of Tears was told in such a way of like, oh, we're giving them different land, not like the fact of it being called the Trail of Tears wasn't just because they were sad to be leaving their home, you know, like there was so much more there. And also just like understanding and learning displacement of people and how normal that is in our history and how awful it is. Like it happens so often where people just come in and are like, we don't want you here anymore, leave, and just push people out who then become people without a home. And then we're now trying to rectify that with crazy political ideology that then destroys the homes people have made. And it's sad. I'm now thinking of xenoism.
Well, as a country, we have a really bad history of misplacing people and, you know, colonization. Like we did it with the Indians, we did it with the Mexicans that were living here,
in
like
Texas.
in California and New Mexico, Arizona, Texas, like all
and
that.
It's horrible and ridiculous, because like when you look at the original settlers and like why people came to America, it was fleeing religious persecution. Like they were leaving somewhere where they felt unwanted, and they came into this place and just were like, well, I don't want you here. It's like, but this is our home. What do you mean we can't be here? And they're like, well, I need a new home, so I'm here now. Go away. And it's like, God damn it. It just doesn't work. That's all I got. But yeah, fuck Andrew Jackson.
Fuck Andrew Jackson. So another topic. Did you want to talk about the first week of class or no?
Well, so like with school starting up, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate, my stress level is at an all-time high. Nothing else needs to be happening. We are in the middle of a pandemic. School is not being done the way it normally is. And well, the idea of school going back fully in person seems so unrealistic now that like we have proof that like online can happen and can work for a lot of students. And I like worry about like school coming back on like in person and what that looks like now that people can just like be not in person. I know you hated online.
I hate online classes. That's why I'm taking like the semester off. See, I feel like a lot of people don't like online classes. Seemed like in education prior to the pandemic, technology and like online classes were kind of thought of like, oh, that's going to be the next big thing. Like technology can solve everything. Like I remember like in middle school when like white or smart boards were a thing, and then they came like Schoology and stuff in high school, and just like I think education for a long time has had this like, oh, technology is going to totally revolutionize everything because like what we do like isn't the best. But I think like what the pandemic has shown, like being forced to go like 100% with technology is like, oh, all the stuff that we are doing is actually better, and you know, we probably wouldn't ever want to replace. Like students need to have time to play together like when they're young and make social bonds and interact.
I think we need options, and I feel like this showed that like this is an optional route. I don't know. I have a love-hate with online schooling. The reason why I like it is also why I hate it. It's super convenient. It gives you different types of accessibility you don't get with online learning, with in-person learning, and all that. And I'm curious because like this has to be making more money for schools. Like the amount of money they're spent, because like even with the buildings still being there, with people not going in and out at the same rate, and with rooms not being used the same, like they have to be saving a ton of money.
I don't know if I would say that. I think a lot of schools are kind of actually hurting right now because one, they're not getting as much like state revenue and other stuff, and a lot of state agencies are cutting their are tightening their belts, and then like student enrollment's down, and then it's like they have less tuition money, but then like fixed costs are the same, so like buildings and salaries and stuff. So I think there's a lot of stuff because of the pandemic that's making it like maybe not. But if it was just like 2023 and things are back to normal, like I think an online class is going to generate way more revenue than like an in-person class.
I just hope that they don't, like, I hope it's still there as like an option, because there are a lot of like blended courses where it's like you don't have, like, the teacher is in a classroom and is teaching students in a classroom, but then the lecture is still being recorded and is accessible that way, which I think is really beneficial for a lot of people and can also hurt a lot of people. So it's like having that option, like being able to be like, can I be in person or can I be online? I think is really important. And hopefully this shows that that's possible to have both options.
Yeah, I don't think in-person classes is going anywhere, but I think what this is doing is it's forcing, say, schools that were behind the ball on having like online course options. They've now been forced to innovate. So I think online classes is going to be like more universally an option, which so students will have more choice. And, you know, if you subscribe to I don't know, free market economics, then like, you know, more choices is better. But so, you know, a non-traditional student who's working full-time during the day can maybe take online classes at night, and the full-time student who wants their 9 to 5 class lectures, they can still do that. So I think that's kind of where we're going to end up.
I hope so, because it can be really challenging to like get certain degrees because there's not accessibility for them in different timing or in different like avenues of learning for people. So I think more asynchronous learning, hopefully, or like learning how to do asynchronous learning more effectively so that people can actually learn through it, because I think not enough people know how to teach an online class well.
Oh, for sure.
And this is forcing them to learn how to, instead of just kind of dismissing it or being like, oh, I'm not going to do that. Well, you've done it now. So, like, I have one professor who I had him last semester, and he lectures. Like, he is a strict bare bones lecturer. Like, he is going to do his work. He's going to talk it out. And that is that you could ask a question or you cannot. He doesn't need you to. And whether I was in person or online, whether it's recorded or live, I'm learning the same from him because that's how it's going. So before the pandemic, he didn't record his lectures. So people would have to be there and have to have that time available to take that class. But now that isn't the same requirement to say you can successfully learn from him or that you can successfully take that course. And I feel like there are a lot of professors who are like, I don't record, or like, you have to show up. And this is really showing that attendance or like living on the same timeline isn't 100% necessary in order to achieve school. For some people it is, and for some people it isn't.
Well, this is something that I've thought intuitively, and I just Googled it because while you were talking, you said that like whether online or in person, like you're learning the same, but that's not quite true because online retention is 5 to 35% lower than like if you were learning like sitting in a lecture in person. So like you might be taught the same, but you're not like getting the same education.
I don't believe that, because I definitely believe it just depends on how you're spending the time. If it is me in my bed falling asleep is very different than me at my desk taking notes. So it's all about how you're structuring and how you're choosing to learn. And I've done both. And I learn much better in the structure of like at a desk with my notebook and taking notes. But I don't think that changes whether I'm in front of the professor or if I'm at home.
I think part of why I think being in person, it doesn't 100% force you to be active. So like sitting at your desk taking notes, but I think it is forces you a whole lot more than like online to be active and take notes.
Oh, for sure.
So I think that's probably part of why it has higher retention. Because like I'm sure there are people that sleep during lectures, and like so we know it's not 100% effective, but most people are like someone engaged in person. So I think you're right that it's not just like strictly whether it's online or in person, and there is like other factors, but I think those factors are influenced on like
it's
the
a
method.
lot easier to not pay attention online than it is in person, 100%. But that doesn't mean that you can't get out the same factors that you get in person as you do online. You just have to look at it differently, or have those classes that work better in that, or force the professors to teach better in those environments of.
Well, I guess the thing that like comes to me in that like I don't think that they're just because they're online means that you cannot receive the same quality education, but I think being online, it's harder and requires a lot more effort to receive the same quality education. It's like
and that work that's like the issue. And that work that needs to be put in, because it is so much harder, has to come from both ends. You have to get it. The professors have to work harder, and so do the students, or at least work in a different way than you do in person.
For sure. And you know, and I think a lot of that for the teachers is like designing a course that like is motivating, and that like you can see that you're making progress, and like it's hard to fall behind and things like that. So like there's a lot of things about like how well designed the course is and stuff like that.
And recording lectures. I think regardless of in person or online, recorded lectures are so helpful.
I hope they're here to stay. Like I fucking love watching a lecture on double speed now.
Yes. Oh my God. I did that over the weekend because talking about my week, I joined a class at the end of the week. Last day to register, I registered for a class and I had 2 lectures I had to catch up on. Putting those at 2 times speed, whoo, it was so nice.
Yeah.
Because the professor spoke so slowly. I was like, oh my God. And the pauses were so long because he was waiting for like other students to interact. And I don't need that.
Yeah, my econ professor last semester was like from South Carolina, so she talked really slowly, and so
Oh.
like if I like increased her like talking or like the video speed to like 1.3 times, um it's like almost like she was talking normally. So I wish we could do that in person classes, but hopefully they just like I don't know have a webcam in the fucking lecture halls, just like record them like and post them on like the Canvas page.
Well, and so many lecture halls are built like that anyway. Like it's a whole, like if you like spending a lot of time
Yeah,
in schools, like they have that as options. But then a lot of instructors are like, you have to be here. Like I will not record my lectures. That's too complicated. And now we just have like the proof that it's not and that accessibility is important because students shouldn't be at school while sick.
for
People
sure.
shouldn't be forced to be there because if not they lose a day of learning. It's like if I can find a way to get that hour, that 50 minutes in at a different time, I should be able to.
Yeah, I agree.
We love learning.
We love learning and hate stickler teachers.
Yes.
Like professors that aren't empathetic to students.
Do we want to learn some more things and go into astrology?
Well, I actually have like a little bit of a segue if you
Oh,
want.
okay.
So I was on Twitter the other day, and so like we have like a Twitter for our podcast. And when I signed up for it, it asked me what am I interested in. I'm like, oh well, we're gonna talk about astrology. So I said we're interested in astrology, and then like I didn't really see anything else because I'm not like interested in sports that much. And now like our Twitter feed for like the podcast is like almost all it is just all astrology. So like
You know,
is
the stars are important.
they're important. So like anyways, the other day I was on Twitter on our podcast Twitter and I saw that this guy talking about astrocartography. Have you done much with astrocartography?
No. It
So
sounds a little too sciencey for me.
yeah. Well, apparently you can like get a map of kind of like they must be like the planet trails or something like based on like where you're born and the time. So you can get you get this map and it has like all these lines on it
Mm.
for like different planets and stuff. And like it can tell you like where it's good to live and where it's bad to live and
Hmm.
like for different phases of life and whatnot.
Huh.
And this guy said like he's been pissed off since he moved to like LA and lo and behold, like his Mercury line is going right through wasn't Mercury I think it was his Mars line was going like right through LA.
Mm.
And anyways, I thought that was just really interesting and
Mm.
like I don't understand it enough to really like,
Well,
get
because
much
like it
out of
sounds like
it.
he's
But
using. I thought it's a lot of science. It sounds like he's using his birth chart and then overlaying that with like current charts to like show the areas, which explains the cartography of like the maps. So he's taking his birth chart and then overlaying it to see
yeah,
what matches and what would show prosperity and what would show not prosperity, which is basically our existence. And speaking of Mercury doing horrible things, Mercury is in retrograde. I'm sorry. Uh Only because Mercury in retrograde is not a bad thing. There is a lot of things that can happen right now that are necessary, but the one thing with Mercury in retrograde is like it's time to look at things but not do anything. If you do something, it's gonna,
mm,
which is hard to be like, okay, I need to make this change or I need to reevaluate my life. I need to see what's going on. but not necessarily do it. So it's like prep all the things or think about all the things, but then don't take the action to do all the things. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
So the way to utilize this is to hopefully have already made changes, or like if you're already in the process of making a change, keep doing it. If you've already started something, keep doing it. Don't stop it just because Mercury's in retrograde, because you've already made the decision before Mercury has come in and tried to make you second guess and stop your change. Keep moving forward, keep doing what you've been doing. And just know that like any massive change to anything you're doing, even small changes, whether that's waking up later, buying a new phone, an oil change, even sometimes. I got an oil change one time during Mercury in retrograde, and then 3 weeks later something else happened and I was like, what's going on? And I honestly chop it off to that, because I brought it back to the car guys, and they were like, oh, you need new tires. And I was like, why didn't you tell me this 3 weeks ago? They were like, it didn't show up then. I was like, why is this happening? Why? I blame Mercury in retrograde.
So we're not supposed to make any big decisions while Mercury's in retrograde?
But you're supposed to follow through on changes you've already made. So if you've made a decision before Mercury went into retrograde, or like the weeks leading up to it, do it and like fulfill those accomplishments and keep going with it. And it's a good time, again, for reevaluation and connection within yourself and with those around you who've already like gone through what you've gone through. So a lot of people only do this during like turmoil in their life. So when you're like, I don't know what to do, my life is in shambles, help me. And Mercury in retrograde is a really good time to do that before the shambles, and to kind of reevaluate and find out where your crossroads are and figure out like who can help you through that, and to really not go through it alone, especially since Mercury is in Aquarius right now while it's doing its retrograde into Pisces. It's a lot of creativity and a lot of emotion and fun and the weird parts of our lives. So we just need to kind of embrace those and reflect on those and enjoy those, and not explode at other people for simply existing. Can't relate.
Well, that's easier said than done.
For sure. And with that, one thing Cooper needs to do.
Oh, what do I need to do? With
his horoscope. Oh, what does his horoscope say?
Okay, I'm taking notes.
It is time, as if he doesn't already, really look into the details of your life, of the love life, of all the angles. Look at it.
I'm a Virgo. Like, I was already at the details level.
And trust your gut on it. Look at it. Look at what you say and go with it. Don't second guess. Dive in deep, baby.
Okay. But you said not to be making any big decisions, and now I need to be like, trust my gut. Like, it seems very contrary to me.
Okay, here's the thing. You're not wrong that those feel very contrary, but they're not. You can trust your gut while not making changes in your life.
What does your horoscope say about you?
Mine is that I just need to be happy and open to connections. I guess there's a lot of things being cut off that's been going on, and I need to be more open to new and exciting things.
Are you cutting off people in traffic?
Every day of my life. You've been in the car with me.
Apparently you stopped doing that. Like, the stars are pissed at you.
I mean, that could honestly explain everything. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird because I'll be moving during retrograde, but I've already I've made all the decisions. I've signed all the paperwork. I've finalized all the things. But that does mean that during retrograde, I might have some hiccups on those days. So it's like, when the moving guys come, the AT&T thing, getting my keys, all that fun stuff.
Have you been feeling any effects of Mercury retrograde? So when did it start? Saturday? Friday?
Yeah.
It started on the 30th, so I think Saturday.
Not yet, but I think I'm just too stressed in my own life already that like everything feels like it's out of whack anyway. So far technology, actually, I say that Sunday, my phone didn't charge Saturday night to Sunday morning. So I woke up Sunday to go to work and my phone wasn't charged.
I had a technology thing today. So like I was reading like what the side effects of like Mercury and retrograde
Mm-hmm.
was, and one of the things they said was like technology can like be funny. And I opened up my phone and like all my apps were gone. I took
Mm.
like a video of it and it's just like all my apps were gone. I'm just like, what the fuck? Like all four screens. But then I like
Mm.
restarted my phone and like they're all back. I'm
Mm.
just like, oh my God, thank goodness. Because I had it just how I wanted it.
That's scary.
But
But
yeah.
yeah, I started off with a bang, I guess, actually, now that I'm thinking about it with my phone not charging that morning and like my AirPods weren't charged. So it was a very messy morning.
See, my stuff is never charged, mercury or not. So,
I had it plugged in though, but it just didn't charge.
do you have like a bad cable?
I don't know. I just like flipped it and then it worked. So
Sounds like a cable. Sometimes, like when they start to wear out, they get kind of finicky. So, I have to be in certain position. It's kind of like when you get old and you only want to have like sex in one position. Like they only want to
mhm.
charge in one position.
If I ever only want to have sex in one position, kill me.
Sex is. Okay, I'm taking a note of that. Yeah, will do. um, I don't know if I am that ride or die, but
And it's like yes, everyone has a favorite position. Everyone has the thing they like to do but more than others. But like you got to change it up. You got to want to change it up like mm.
yeah.
Because also if I had to pick one position for the rest of my life, it would be boring because I would be like, well, I don't want to have to do anything, so I'll just do the easiest position. But that's not the most fun.
Um, well, we've kind of already done like the fuck the stars segment, but as a topic, like I had down normalize straight people doing butt stuff is one of my
I
topics for this
think
week.
you're 100% correct, except for me.
Oh, it doesn't have to be you. It could be like your male partner doing butt stuff.
I mean, if he cleans out his butthole, then we can talk. But like, he's got to be clean. I don't. I mean, I've heard it's great. But also as someone who like is not anti, but like, I don't want anything near my butt. I have butt. I have butt problems. I have anal problems. We know this. I got a colonoscopy at 24. It's not normal down there. And I don't want to push it. But I am all for pushing straight men out of their comfort zone. And I've heard that like straight men end up really liking that stuff. Like a finger in the butthole. It works.
Um, yeah, just like stick it in there while you're jerking them off, and like they'll have fun. Where was I? I was at a bar with a couple people in Madison, and like one of the ladies said she's done butt stuff and really liked it. I'm like, good for you, you know.
Good for you. Get that butt stuff.
Yeah.
Do it.
Well, anyways, fuck Mercury and retrograde. Fuck the stars.
Fuck the stars. Fuck Mercury in retrograde. Stay safe out
You
there.
know,
Don't do anything
don't
stupid.
make any haste decisions like the online shopping I did last night.
Oh man, the amount of online shopping I've been doing is not good. And I'm just like trying to wait until I moved because like I have my list of things from Home Goods. And after I get all that, then I have to finalize stuff. But I keep buying hand towels.
Like, do you have just like stacks and stacks of hand towels at your apartment?
No, they're all in my car. I have like 4 or 5 packs of hand towels right now in my car. And I already own plenty of hand towels.
See, like, I've been looking at stuff on like Wayfair and whatnot for like my apartment, and like a lot of it's like furniture
Mm-hmm.
items because I don't really have a lot of furniture. But like, oh, it's gonna be hard for me not like just like waste all my money on like stuff in my apartment.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have like my budget for Target and Home Goods. And I just need to go and like I have like my big day of spending,
Mm-hmm.
but I just haven't gone and done it yet because I'm not in my new place. So once I'm in there, then I have a place to put everything. So once I get those keys, it'll be dangerous because I have to make a trip to the East Town Home Goods and the West Town Home Goods. Those Home Goods are other sides of town, probably almost an hour apart, I would tell you. Like they are so far from each other. I'm excited.
I kind of want to go do this with you. It sounds fun.
Yes, please do. Oh my God.
I just love spending other people's money. But within budget. Within budget. Okay. I'm pulling up Yahoo stuff.
Dumbass questions for us to answer in dumbass ways. Hey.
I'm going to make a clip of that, and that's going to be our intro from now on.
Here for it.
Okay, so here's one. What do Democrats think about how your king, I think they're talking about Biden, ruined women's sports with inclusion of transsexual men? First, I would just want to say transsexual hasn't been a thing in the past couple decades. It's transgender.
Mm-hmm.
So,
they're transgender women and they should be able to play sports with the gender they identify with. But I also think that gendered sports is kind of ridiculous. Like there are some instances where it kind of makes sense, but also overall, like let everyone play against each other. Like,
well, and there was a case like in Brazil or something with the Olympics where like the cis woman had hormones that were like too close to like a man's, so like they didn't want her to compete with like her own gender. It's just like, so even if you do like strictly like biological like quote unquote sex, like you know what conservatives are like with X and Y chromosome, like even that's messy. Like
because it's not always 100% X and X, or because like you can have like XXY or like triple X or like 1X and double Y. Like there's all these different variants that can happen in DNA. So it's like it doesn't matter. And the fact that sports is gendered anyway just annoys me because then people are like, well, yeah, because like women would be pummeled on like a guy's team. And it's like, or you could just have all of them playing together and it's like the hierarchy scale would be there. Like I want to watch the best tennis, like the best male tennis player play Serena Williams. Like I want to watch that shit.
yeah, for sure. Oh, and like I'm guessing with like the pummel stuff, are they talking about like football? Like I don't think they should be tackle football in general.
Yeah, I mean, I know women who play tackle football and they're fine.
Well, I'm not saying it's a gender thing. I just don't like tackle football because concussions and
No, I get that, yeah. But I think like for like soccer or like basketball, even baseball, because like baseball and softball are played fundamentally very like fundamentally they seem the same, but like they are very different. Like softball fields are smaller. The ball is heavier, which also
yeah,
makes it like not go as far anyway. But like it there's all these little things in sports that you're just like really doesn't matter. Because you know who else plays softball? Old men. Softball leagues are so popular for old men.
yeah. I think I know people that play like softball.
So, yeah. I say old men. Not everyone who plays like softball leagues is an old man, but like that's what I equate it to. But it's not. Many people play in softball leagues. And like volleyball leagues, like there's all of these non-professional sports, like team leagues and like summer leagues or whatever, where your gender doesn't matter and you just play. And it's fine. So like why can't we do that overall? And then some people are like, well then it'll only be men playing. And it's like, but would it? Or do you just want to say that to try to justify yourself?
Yeah. Let's see. The title is Why Won't He Meet Me? I've been speaking to this guy since June 2020. We met on an online dating app, and so far he's been a very nice guy. We have spoken to each other so many times, and we've spoken about almost everything, about careers to marriage to holidays, just everything. We have exchanged personal pictures. I've actually spoken to him on the phone, so he definitely 100% real. Here, this is a lot of detail. I'm gonna like try to cut to the chase. he talks to me, and it's him who wants to meet me, but we never get around to it. I understand that he has his own business and apparently is very busy, and I haven't spoken to him for 3 weeks as he didn't reply my message when I said, "What time am I meeting you today?" But he recently popped up to me and replied to my WhatsApp story, changing the subject, and is trying to act like nothing happened. So why won't he meet me?
Okay, two things. First and foremost, we're in the middle of a global pandemic. Meeting people in person is not necessarily going to happen for everyone. Everyone has their own set of rules and boundaries and what they are and are not comfortable with. And that is perfectly acceptable in a global pandemic. That out of the way. Maybe there's other stuff in his life that he's lying to you about.
That's like where my mind went to.
Yeah, so I'll tell a story real quick. I was hooking up with this guy, and I liked hooking up with him. So we kept hooking up after the first time. And then it was like always at my place. And I was like, oh, let's hook up at your place. Every single time he would just like fall off the face of the earth just before I was supposed to come over or like whatever. So I was like, okay, we'll only hang out like day of. Still only at my place. He falls off because of a global pandemic. And then we rematch on a dating app. He is using a different name than he used the first time we matched. And I'm like, LOL, this can't be real. We talk. He's like, oh yeah, he made me seem crazy. He was like, I don't know what you're talking about, whatever, da 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 da. And I was like, no, you definitely had a different name last time we were talking. And then then he was like, oh, well, I'd like to meet up again, da 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 da. And I was like, yeah, we can meet up at like your place. And then he was like, okay, yeah, for sure. So we made a plan. And I was like, okay, am I still we made the plan, I think, for like the next night. And it was like that morning, I was like, oh, am I still coming over tonight? Nothing. And then he texted me the next day and I just didn't respond. But I know he's hiding shit. And like, that's what I want to know. I'm like, what are you hiding?
Yeah, I think like not wanting to show up and like making a commitment and then kind of like ghosting before the commitment so you don't get the details, like all that's like red flags. And I think he's probably lying about something. Like, does he run his own business? Like, or did he just say that because it sounds good? And like stuff like that.
He is hiding something and you will find someone else real fast. Don't worry about it.
And I'm sure he's a nice person, but like, that's a big red flag that you can't be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially if it's like ghosting you, which was like the point of my story. People ghosting before meeting up means they're hiding something. Especially if then it's like they come back in and they don't talk about that happening. Like they are hiding something.
And using different names is kind of, I would say it's a red flag.
Yeah.
It's just like, what are you doing?
Oh, but such a good hookup though.
Good for him. Ceased and desist that booty. Are you ready to wrap this up?
Oh, I think we're ready to wrap this up. I got no more energy after cease and desist that booty. Getting me all excited.
That's the peak of this episode, right at the end. That's the climax.
Gotta love a climax. If you enjoyed this episode and want to help keep Bitch Said What going, consider joining our Patreon. You can join through the link in the show notes.
Do you want to try that again?
Yeah. You're so mean. You're like, you want to try again? If you enjoyed this episode and want to help keep Bitch Said What going, consider joining our Patreon. You can join through the link in the show notes.
If you want to share your thoughts and opinions on today's topic or just want to say hi to Sabrina and I, connect with us on our social media. Our social media handles are posted also in the show notes.
If you enjoyed this episode... Take two. If you enjoyed this episode, consider giving Bitch Said What a rating or review. We would love your feedback and ratings to help the podcast grow.
Until next time, stay thirsty.
The face you just gave me.
I don't know what face I gave you.